Welcome back to another episode of Presley's Pod. Happy Sunday. We're here in New York City. The sun is shining. I'm feeling much better than the last time that I saw you all. Okay, I got some sleep. There's so much dry shampoo in my hair right now that it's probably seeping into my brain, but it's because I'm going outside this weekend, which we will circle back to, and I need to plan the hair accordingly, okay? And I realized that this is the first time I've been outside in a while, I think, besides a couple nights ago, which we will get into. But I was like, wait, I haven't had to plan like hair and outfits in a while. This is so fun. I love being a girl. So I'm feeling better. My skin is breaking out. You can't tell because I have makeup on, but hopefully that will clear up a little bit before this weekend. So I haven't talked to anyone all day today. This is the first time that I've opened my mouth besides me just talking to myself in my room. So get ready, okay? We're on a roll. The other day, I FaceTimed the 26-year-old, and I literally that day had just been random errands, maybe like appointments where I didn't really have to talk to anyone. And I yapped just at him the entire time. I don't even think the man could get a word in. Anyway, I want to circle back to last week's episode about my future wedding, okay? Because I forgot one key detail, one key detail that I feel very strongly about. And I don't really have an explanation as to why. I think it's like you either feel this way or you don't feel this way. I am not, okay? If one day I get married, I will not change my last name. I am not going to change my last name, okay? One, all the paperwork, I don't really feel like doing that. But two, I've had this name for my entire life and we're just gonna change it. I also think that that goes along with like family, kids, things. And like, I'm still very unsure about what I want in that department. So I guess if I wanted kids and I'd be like, okay, I'll change my last name so like we can all be like one happy family. But since I'm really on the fence, like, do I want them to have like his name dash my name? Or is it just no kids and I don't have to change my last name? I don't know. But I say I don't know, but I just can't imagine like taking someone else's last name. Like, what if they have a bad last name? What if it doesn't go with your name? And you've had this name for your entire life. Think about all the things that you would have to change. Emails, driver's license, like I don't even know. Like Instagram handles. Good thing Presley's Pod doesn't have my last name in it. But you see my point, okay? And I don't know if I'm the only one. I don't know if that's insane, but I just don't I don't know. I have never ever thought about taking someone else's last name. Anywho, on Monday, I caught up with my very dear friend Hadley, which you all have yet to meet. But we've been friends for about 4 years and we just get along. We really do. Like, we just sit down, talk, get along. We're both like happy people. Any sort of drama is never between us. You know, we get our intel from other sources, we bring it to each other, and we spill the tea there, okay? We also enjoy doing the same things, dive bar one night, rooftop at the Ritz the next. Like, we have a good balance. She's also in a very healthy relationship, so we don't like have any drama there. And it's just so much fun whenever we hang out. Anyway, a place that we liked to frequent is like a certain set of dive bars. They're sister bars, okay? And also, girls, listen up, okay? Dive bars in Midtown, that's where you also need to be. I said Crane Club if you want to be bougie, but dive bars in Midtown, like, easy, okay? And pro tip, and I think this is kind of a pro tip for any time you're out. If you're going out with your friends, right? Sometimes you go out and you're like, this is to catch up with my friend. Like, don't even look at me. I don't even want to entertain a male at this moment. But then sometimes you go out because you're like, let's see what happens. Let's see who we can meet. If you're in one of those moments, sit at the bar, okay? Because then people come up to the bar, they got to lean over to sign something, they take a glance at you, boom, you start talking. But if you're sitting at a table, the men get a little bit more intimidated to go up to said table. Granted, these two bars in Midtown, it's just where all the confident men go, apparently. When we were there, there was a World Cup game on, which I didn't even like. I was like, why is it packed at 4:30? Don't these people have jobs? And then don't I have a job? And then the game was on, so I was okay. But men came up to the table and all they wanted, like, thank you, but all they wanted was recommendations for like where to go after. And we were like, Monday night, like, you're definitely asking the wrong girls. And two, one was from, where was he from? I think he was, I don't know, but he just like wanted to talk about New York and living in New York. And then we cheers and he went on his merry way. And I'm like, thank you, that's how you do it. So that reminded me of a time that Hadley and I were at this bar, okay? And we were there at like peak finance bro hour, okay? The place was packed around like 7 p.m. on a weeknight. Here's the thing about the Midtown dive bars, which I don't really have any desire to figure this out, so maybe you can go on this adventure. I don't remember what days of the week I was there when it was packed and what days of the week it wasn't packed, okay? Because I swear sometimes we would go on a Thursday and we'd be like, where is everybody? But then we'd go on a random Tuesday and chaos would happen, okay? So we'd always get there early so we could get a table. And this was pre her boyfriend, pre 26-year-old. We'd always get a table, whatever. And one time we had to sit at the bar. Scary, scary, okay? So, when you're out with a friend and they start doing that like weird shifty thing, like, I was talking to Hadley and all of a sudden she's like scooting her body. So she's like trying to get right in line with me, slash, make sure someone doesn't see what she's about to tell me. And I was like, are you okay? Is your back hurt? What's going on? So she was like, Presley, there is a man staring at you, staring at you. And I was like, okay, either one, I'm about to die, or two, maybe it's someone I know, which that would probably be that would probably be even worse. And so I was like, okay, okay. Using my peripheral vision, I was like, do I know anyone in this bar? Nothing happens. We keep doing our thing, chit chatting, whatever. The waitress comes over to us and she says, that man over there paid for your drinks. And he also told me to give you this. And now I know for a fact that it was his number on the receipt. But now that this story is like coming back to me, I feel like there was a note. Yes, yes, yes. There was a note, okay? Number on the receipt. And there, oh my gosh, how did I forget this? Number on the receipt. And there was a note with the number also on it. On the note, it said something about like, enjoy, you guys like look like you're having so much fun, enjoy the rest of your night, whatever. Something about text me, maybe, I don't know. So he paid for our drinks, shout out, brought that over. The waitress gave it to, yeah, the waitress gave it to us. And he paid for the drinks because he was leaving, right? So he was behind me. He gets up, walks around behind me, says literally maybe like two sentences to us. Also, it was so crowded and so loud. I think he said something like, have a good night, like, hope to connect, or like whatever. I don't know. And so I got like a 2-second glance at this man and I was like, okay. But also, anyone that did that, I probably would go out with, because that's like confidence, taking initiative, like that. I swear that does not happen anymore. I think it's been, that was years ago. Yeah, this must have been like 2 years ago. And he walks and like whatever. So I was like, I should text him. Like, I should figure out what this man's deal is. I texted him and I said, thank you for the drinks, whatever, yada, yada. We start talking and he lives not in New York, but like right outside of New York, I think. And he comes into the city for work. but not a lot because, and this is why I knew it wasn't a lot. We started talking, and he was like, I would love to take you out sometime. Um, what and then we started talking about like schedules, maybe. I can't remember, but I just remember the kicker was he was like, we could go back to the bar, back to the dive bar in Midtown where we met. He didn't say that, but that's how my brain was processing it. And I was like, there's other bars in New York City, and my light was on. I was a green light for this man, and then we started to go a little yellow, where I was like, I don't really want to go back to that same dive bar. That's a horrible choice for a first date spot. Not saying that a first date spot has to be like bougie, pulling out all the stops, but this particular bar, Hadley and I would go, and guys would be like, what are you guys doing here? Because it would be our pregame to go somewhere else. We'd be like dressed up a little nicer. They would come up to us and be like, what are you guys doing here? Like it was giving that. It's giving the bros go after work and go home. Anyway, so I was like, oh, I actually think that that's going to be a no for me. So sorry. I don't even know what I said. I was just like, I don't like that. Sorry. Anyway, so Hadley and I were sitting at this bar, and we've been coming to this place for maybe 4 years. And it got me thinking while I was sitting there listening to her talk about everything that we've been through and everything that these walls have heard. Okay. Hadley and I met when we were both in relationships. We both went through breakups at the same time. She met her current boyfriend. I met the 26-year-old. Like, we truly have been through so much, and we've had each other's backs the entire time. And I feel like as mid 20-year-olds, we're all kind of getting to this point where some of us are starting to mature faster than others. Some of us are staying at the same level. And I fear that there's a few of us that are backsliding, that are backsliding to um, high school. High school. That's kind of how some people have been acting recently, okay? And here's the thing, when it comes to friendships, I don't associate myself with the drama. I don't associate myself with people that are going to cause chaos in my life. Do I want friends that are going to bring the chaos and the tea from other people's lives? Yes, I do. But to me, I want chill, steady, easygoing. And it's funny because Hadley and I love those moments with your friends when you're like talking about your childhoods and you're like, why do we get along? Like, what is there that we get along? Both of our moms had us when they were 35, and we both were like, when we get married one day, separate bedrooms. So we were like, you know what, those like two core beliefs, I think it's that core belief of like, okay, if our moms had us at 35, we desire to rush into something, and we she said the same exact thing I said last week. She was like, I am kind of now open to the idea of a one bedroom apartment because we've been sleeping in the same bed, and I've actually been sleeping, so maybe so maybe I could be open to that. And I was like, yeah, I actually slept for the first time next to the 26-year-old, so yay for us. But it just got me thinking of like staying away from the messy drama, etc. And I feel so grateful for all of my friends in my life. Yes, I've put in the work to maintain these friendships and make sure that I'm like weeding out the bad eggs. But it kind of got me thinking of, say you move to a new city or you're in a new area or you're new to something, and you're like, how do I make friends? How do I form these like cool friendships that you're talking about, Presley? Would love to know. Here's the thing, I feel very aligned, fulfilled, my truest self when I am at work and when I'm participating in the hobbies that I like. So I'm very blessed to meet a lot of these good friends from work or from similar hobbies. So honestly, take that and run with it. So if you're like, okay, I like to work out, maybe you're meeting people at a gym, maybe you're meeting people at a workout class. If you feel so, because I feel so fulfilled with work that if I don't mind hanging out with them at the end of the day, right? But I totally get it. If you go to work and you are not that passionate about your job, you don't really like it, and then you also go have to hang out with these coworkers after work, you're like, yeah, I could probably use some better friends. So go where you feel your truest self, for lack of a better word, like you're most alive, and put yourself out there to talk to people and make friends. Workout classes that I go to in New York City, there's regulars. And some of these places I'm kind of starting to become a regular. And I'm like, maybe I could be, I mean, I have no time or space in my life for any new friends, but you're like, maybe I could be friends with these people. The more you know. So I think that as we get older and as we're maturing, I think one of the biggest signs that I'm hearing in some of this, like, not just from Hadley, but just around any sort of like drama, I feel like is stemming from a maturity, like big differences in maturity. But I also think a sign of someone who's extremely mature is they're able to put themselves in other people's shoes. I feel like when you can't do that and you think that everything's about you, the world revolves around you, you have no sense of like that other people could be going through something. I had to learn that of like, I'm on my phone all the time. Why aren't my friends responding to my texts? Like, hello. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're at work. Maybe something just happened. Maybe they have other things to do. And that was what I learned. One of the biggest things that I took away from my first and only relationship was being able to put myself in his shoes. Because up until that, I was just like solo dolo. I only had to worry about myself. And I was vibing, I was having fun. But when you start to, like partner up and you have to be like, okay, he just came home from work. He's exhausted. How do I feel when I come home from work and I'm exhausted? Or he has something that he's stressed about that's happening in a few weeks. How do I feel when I have something that I'm stressed about happening in a few weeks? And I had to like be able to really train my brain to understand where this man was coming from. And also, I've learned many other things. I don't even know if that's a phrase, many other things from that relationship, but I've decided to not use this platform for that. We're going to take the high road, okay? I think the more that you can, I think this is true with friendships and relationships, okay? I have started, there's only so many personality types, right? Like, truly. And now when I meet someone new, whether pre 26-year-old it was a man, whether it was a new friend, I can slot them into a category in my brain where I'm like, oh, you remind me of the mean girl from fifth grade. Like, this is having the same energy. You're operating the same way. Yes, we're many years older, but I don't like that. So I'm going to pivot to the next. Like, something is bothering me here. Same thing with men. I'm like, you're having some similar qualities to so and so a couple years ago. I feel like you're the same. And I've met people that I'm like, whoa, you guys are the same. Because, right, there's only so many kinds of people out there. So the more that you can kind of keep your eyes out and make sure that you're not just like, I'm open to the world, I'm going to be friends with everybody, and like rushing into friendships and rushing into relationships. Okay, I swear every episode I can tie it back to the slow burn. But the more that you can take your time to make sure that like this person is going to be worth your time and a good addition to your life, the better. So, speaking of my favorite thing to talk about, the slow burn. I think we're on month like 6 maybe with the 26-year-old. And um yeah, that's a slow burn. We're still exclusive. Things are still going well, but he invited me on like a little weekend away to the beach next weekend. And when he brought it up, my mind just went blank. Just went blank. And I was like, uh, Give me a second. Give me a second to think about it. Give me a second. Thank you for the heads up. Give me a second. Okay. And some long story short, I'm going on the beach trip. Okay. The thing that I've talked about before with the slow burn is you have to make sure that you're doing everything you can to like show the person that you're still into them, right? Because I put myself in his shoes and I was like, Presley, if you invited this man on a beach trip and he said, can you give me a second to think about it? I'd be like, okay, F you, I'm going to bring one of my friends. So I am self aware, okay? I am self aware and I'm trying to be better about like, yes, this is good. This is me going outside of my comfort zone. And it's nothing against him. It's more like, okay, let me wrap my brain around the fact that maybe that weekend I won't be in New York. So let me make sure that I can get all of this like work done before and making sure like, do I want to travel that weekend? Do I still want to be in New York? It's more like logistics in my brain and these like hoops that I have to go through for some reason that I've created in my own brain. And then I can be like, sure, I'll go to the beach with you. So we started planning this little beach trip, okay? Friday night, go to the beach, Saturday, beach, Sunday morning, come back. Easy. You would think that I was like, I said this to him, I was like, I don't know why I can't just say, like, sounds good, can't wait. I don't know why. I need like 24 to 48 hours to think about it and process all of my emotions. Anyway, so he is planning most of it and he sent me some options for where we can go. And he said one little thing about one of the places. Something along the lines of if we go here, we can just bike everywhere. And I have never ever gotten on a bike. No, I'm kidding. I have never had a problem telling a significant other or someone that I was dating that I don't like to do certain things. I've never faked liking something for a man. I've never done anything like that. So when he brought up biking, and I was like, this might be an issue because Presley doesn't want to bike. Presley is not trying to put on her cute little dinner outfit with her little heels and her little dress and like get on a bike and pedal, okay? Couple things. One, sweating. In the summer on a bike, you're going to be sweating. Two, haven't ridden a bike outside. I've done Soul Cycle, but I haven't done that. I don't even know the last time. Like it's been honestly, it's been like over 10 years. So I was like, I'm not going to embarrass myself in front of this man and crash into something on the side of the street on this bike. And so I said, you know what, let me just let him know that because if this is going to be like the determining factor for how we are getting around wherever we decide to go, no bikes. No bikes. So if you take anything from that, just be very confident in saying the things that you don't like. Like I'm not a big fan of Italian food, and anytime I tell someone that, they look at me like I'm an alien. And you know what? I said what I said. Like, I don't like to do the things that I don't like to do, and I'm not going to do them. So, circling back to the sweat in summertime, the last time he was here, we were in a rush to go to dinner, okay? And it was hot on a Friday night. Why did I pick jeans? I don't know. I picked black jeans and this like cute blue top, okay? Blue, crazy color for me to pick because I usually wear all black. And when I wear all black, people are like, wow, black cat energy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it's literally because I will sweat through any other color, okay? I like the minute that I step outside, sweating. So we're rushing to the train station. My black baggy jeans, my blue top that is like clinging to my body. We get down in the subway and I start having a little bit of like a mental breakdown. And I'm standing there, standing like this, scarecrow arms standing there. And I'm like trying to fan myself because I'm just thinking of the possible sweat stains that could be on this outfit. And honestly, they were probably there. Like a 5-minute walk, I was probably already dealing with that. And he was great. He was like, do you I could tell on his face, he was like, what is this girl going through right now? What's happening? He's like, do you want to go back upstairs and wait for the train? Like, do you want to go back outside? And I was like, no, 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 I'll be okay. And then the minute we got on the train, I was like, find a vent ASAP. Find the AC vent, and I need to stand right under it. I don't even care. My allergies start acting up from all this mold, but like I need to stand under the AC vent. So you can understand why maybe a bike situation might not be the best for me. Anyway, speaking of the 26-year-old, he is coming to New York this weekend. Yay, yay. Can't wait. Because this weekend, Addie and I are celebrating. We're doing a little birthday celebration, okay? We're not like doing anything crazy, but we both have July birthdays and everyone's going to be traveling. So we said, you know what? Birthday this weekend. Friday night, Addie, Lauren, and I are going to dinner somewhere like cool in downtown. Every time I go downtown, I'm like, am I cool enough to be down here? Somewhere like fun in downtown. Then Saturday, if you haven't listened to the episode, I think it was called like My Iconic NYC Story, something along those lines. We're going to brunch, okay? We're going to brunch. We made the reservation forever ago, and we said, you know what? We'll find people to go with. Who knows who could be in our lives by that point? So it turns out literally everyone is out of town and busy. So Addie's bringing a friend, and the 26-year-old was like, wait, if this is a birthday thing, I want to come. And he's going to come up that morning. I'm like, you really don't have to. Like, I know you've got a lot going on. Like, it's really okay. And he was like, no, I'm coming. And I was like, okay, you're an angel. Here we go. So we are hitting the town this weekend. The girls plus the 26-year-old, and knock on wood, wherever wood is, I do believe that your next Presley's Pod episode will have two guests, Addie and Lauren. Because if I had to guess, I think that there could be some recapping needed of this weekend. And I feel like that is just the best time where you sit on a couch somewhere and you recap the weekend with your girls. So why not grab a mic and record an episode? I hope that you all have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.